can it do dinosaur, like, combat? Like, can you have, like, you know, prehistoric combat?
Oh, we can get you dinosaurs.
But can it do post-apocalyptic?
How would you like to befriend a dino in a post-apocalyptic setting?
How about zombies?
Oh, we got you, zombies.
I'm in. Let's figure out what the hell this game is.
Dorks.
Hi everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo, and we have a very special guest.
Hi everybody, I'm Darcy Ross from Monte Cook Games, and I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to ask you a million questions. We have hinted at talking about both Cipher and just Monte Cook Games in general. As you can tell, I've got Numenera and the Cypher System book behind us. Let's start about and talk about what is Monte Cook? Sounds like a dude's name.
So Monte Cook Games was started by Monty Cook. You might know his work from Dungeons and Dragons. He was one of the lead designers on the 3rd edition. He's really well known for things like his work on Planescape. Oh goodness, a whole bunch of games. He has a Monty Cook's World of Darkness, so lots of people have really loved some of the adventures and the really weird settings that he's done. Sort of go off on his own and sort of lean into the weird in his own personalized way and start a company when he kickstarted Numenera. It's a setting about Earth a billion years in the future where all these civilizations have sort of risen to enormous technological prowess and fallen or ascended, and so you're living on the bones of these really cool ancient civilizations. That just has so much weird science fantasy potpourri of strangeness that I've come to love from Monty Cook. So I was a fangirl of Numenera. And since then, the company has grown and we've created a whole bunch of other games. They hired me, so I'm happy. I'm an ex-scientist that they said, snailology, that'll do. And so now I work for Monty Cook Games. And we've made games like Invisible Sun, which is surreal fantasy and magic. Predation, which has dinosaurs and strange technology and a little bit of time travel. We're just a really passionate group of gamers and people who are really passionate about science and the weird truths of the world around us. We get to make awesome games that often use the Cypher System, which is what was initially used in Numenera.
Oh, we'll get into the Cypher System in a minute, but you had mentioned about like the fact that Numenera was kickstarted.
Yeah.
A lot of your guys' stuff is actually kickstarted through, and what I always find it interesting is it's not just like, hey, here's the book or here's the PDF.
Right.
You also have like these little like knickknacks and like things that come along the way. Alcuin, who brought actually the whole entire system over and to my attention, is like, oh yeah, every time it comes out, I always get the level where it comes with the cool knickknack.
That's the magic of things like Kickstarter, right? It's hard to know which knickknacks people are passionate about, and Kickstarter, and like we've made a bunch of stuff because fans were like, what if you did this? And we were like, what if we did that? We want that thing. We want that cool deck box that's coming out, right? But it's because of that really close connection with the community that I think we get to have, and it's so fun.
Because they're like the Kickstarter stuff, and I didn't know about them for a while. And Alcuin came in with all these little cool coins, and I was like,
Shins.
Where the hell did you get them? Where can I order those?
Yeah.
And sucks to be you.
Yeah, the Kickstarter exclusives are a bit of a heartbreaker, but we try to make a lot of stuff available later on.
So I've read through both Numenera and Cipher. Numenera is more of like a themed book using the Cypher system, while Cipher is just like, cool, you tell your story, but here's all the bits and bobs to allow you to do that. You have a new book coming out, which is an update? Explain to me what exactly it is.
A few years back, we created the Cypher System Rulebook, which, again, is this big book of tools and options and advice for you want to run some really strange, highly niche game experience. Here are some tools that we think would make it easy for you to sort of pick up and play and plug in these modules and get going. Since then, we've come out with, other innovations in this sort of mechanical ecosystem that, like Predation was a setting guide that came out that you would use the Cypher System Rulebook for. You play yourself as like a human being cool and weird and time travel-y, exploration, beautiful nonsense, but you also play the dinosaur companion of another player. And so we had these cool innovations that came through, like representing relationships to each other. Invisible Sun was a game that doesn't use the Cypher system at all, but had character arcs, and people loved those. I loved those. It's tying advancement to kind of story pursuits that you have for your character, and really like having a mechanized way to communicate to the GM, hey, I really want to have a fall from grace. What the new Cypher System rulebook, which is a revision of the old one, lets us do is bring a lot of that innovation into that core rulebook and let you play with a lot of really cool new stuff, like player intrusions is another example. GM intrusions is a major mechanic of Cypher System, complicating the narrative in a way and bribing you to do it, right? Strange ghosts are infiltrating the cameras around us, right?
Yeah.
And you would have a choice to either accept my XP bribe or refuse me. Now there's player intrusions where you can tell me, the GM, I want to assert something about the setting. So there's these cool, innovative sort of mechanics that are coming along. What I really love is it's not a new addition, and that's something that, you know, NCG hasn't done with any of its books. We haven't, you know, created inconsistencies or incompatibilities because we want to play with all the books that we publish.
Sure.
So we don't want to have to, you know, do something new with our books. Totally compatible with all existing Cypher System material, but it's a wild reimagining of what that core book is. It's our biggest book ever. We used to have pages and pages of character options. In Cipher, you would, you know, to create a character, you say, I'm an enthusiastic babbler who cultivates positive communities. I'm a community manager for MCG. What we've done with the new one is basically, rather than give you long descriptions of the options you can pick, we empower you to create your own. And so we give you long ability lists that you can play with and pick and choose to make your own options. And I love that because I'm always like, really out there. I think Monty's always horrified at the things that I do with his games. He's like, why would you do that? I really wanted to play a sitcom. I was like, how do you have a sitcom experience in a game, right? I was watching a lot of Jane the Virgin. I was really into it. And I was like, ooh, A plot, B plot. And so I was hacking the Cypher System to do it. And now with the Cypher System rulebook that just came out, it's just going to make it a lot easier to make whatever wild nonsense you want to get up to.
I really actually, you mentioned the sentence. I really loved the sentence idea because most of the time when people like are describing their character, like we have a lot of people that do fantasy games, right, on our channel. I am a rogue, level 2 human elf. Like it's very mechanical information versus the sentence, right, which is a understanding of what the overall direction of the character and not necessarily the mechanic. Because I can always take a elf warrior, third level, and make it a completely like socially different. But the sentence, I feel, really pushes what kind of overarching character you're trying to get.
And I think it's really great for new players. Nothing pleases me more than getting to see the light, illuminate in someone's eyes who's never gotten to roleplay before, sort of see what this is about. And I use the Cypher System a lot. And I think for new players, especially like third level, like what does that mean? You know, I'm an elf. What does that mean in the setting? Character sentence, I think, gives them sort of a narrative foundation. You're like, oh, well, like I'm a brash explorer who, I don't know, who doesn't do much, right? So I'm brash and I'm like lazy. I know I can think about how to role play that right away. It lets people go from like 0 to, oh gosh, we're role playing now, very fast. So
I do feel it's a very role play heavy game.
It is.
Like there are dice mechanics within the game with the GM intrusions and how you're gaining XP. I think makes it really interesting, like system wise, because I feel like a big issue with like traditional XP is like, I'm gonna be a murder hobo.
Oh yeah.
I hated that, and
Set that aside.
I hate XP systems, like traditional XP systems where it's just like, you get a certain amount of XP by defeating this boss. That's why whenever I specifically run, I always try to make sure it's like, when do I feel is a good time for the group? What have they accomplished? I do think that this XP system in Cipher is a really good alternative to that because it's narrative and not necessarily I'm killing and defeating something.
Originally for Numenera, it was tied to discovery. Like, did you learn a new thing? Did you learn something about yourself or people you helped, or a strange device that you like pulled apart and turned into something new, right? That's still the core of the XP across the Cypher System is like a discovery, unveiling new things, sort of moving story in some way forward.
Now, has that been Kickstarted, or is it going to be on Kickstarter, or how is that?
That was part of our Your Best Game Ever Kickstarter, which
was
sort of a two-parter. We also produced a book that came out earlier this summer called Your Best Game Ever, and it's really different from anything else we've done. It's a book of tools and advice and resources about the role-playing hobby as a whole, about GMing, about being a player, about hosting games, and how do you handle difficult social dynamics or common issues that come up in getting a group of people to play a game over a consistent period of time. New people, experienced people, there's so many ways to level up as a gamer. Like, here are some specific things you might want to try or advice we have. And we worked with a bunch of other really great voices across the gaming industry.
So what really cool, interesting things did we miss out on for not kickstarting?
Oh gosh, well, you're not going to get the advanced materials for The Stars Are Fire, which Be Still My Heart, is going to be something I've asked for forever, which is a sci-fi supplement for Cipher. It's written by Bruce Cordell, who you might know from lots of Dungeons & Dragons material. He designed The Strange. Really, really smart space person, I would say, in addition to being a very talented game designer and writer. How do you have really epic, like, dog fights in space? Again, with sort of the narrative focus of Cipher, you want to feel... We want to know how to make that space combat feel a little tactile, feel interesting without getting bogged down in the details, so I cannot wait to play that. Cool rules for spaceships, and it's going to come with a whole custom setting, so that material is going out to Kickstarter folks right now. Also, Stay Alive is going to be our next book, which is a supplement on all sorts of different kinds of horror and how you might want to use some of those toolkits in your own horror games. And we actually pulled a section out of that book and released it on its own recently, which is called Consent in Gaming.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah. Because you guys released it for free for people to download and take part in. I was really excited when I saw that. I'm a big fan of that at the table. One of our friends actually got the X cards printed out.
Oh, yay.
And so I actually keep one in my wallet.
Nice.
So if there's a situation where we're like, hey, let's game, I'm like, cool, just in case, let's bring this out. Making sure that everyone at the table feels comfortable is super important, and I'm so glad that it's coming from a game developer side and not necessarily just from the player side.
Like you said, the X card, there's been all kinds of really cool design that different groups have built to solve to sort of help their games along in all these different ways. I'm really glad we put it out, and we felt we had to because we were writing about a lot of content that we were like, if we were playing in this game, we would want healthy ways to negotiate the kind of horror experience we want, or the kind of vulnerable romance, or intimate details that we want to feel. A lot of Consent in Gaming is pointing you in the directions of all this really cool, innovative design that's gone into safety tools as a whole, and points you in the direction of this rich literature for diving deeper. Every group is different, and I'm an X card aficionado myself. It's on my kitchen table at all times. It's because it's so easy. It's so quick. I don't know. I like normalizing its use, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's the key thing is normalization of these
conversations.
Exactly, because the thing is that yes, when you do it for the first time, it's a little uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's a little uncomfortable.
So is role playing. You're like, ooh, I'm an elf.
yeah, exactly. I feel that whenever this topic gets brought up, I string it on longer than it needs to. I don't know if you're able to talk about anything else you have coming up, but I'm definitely going to ask if there's anything else that we should be keeping our eye out, or maybe even if you can't say what to look at, keep our eye out, maybe about when we should be looking at.
We definitely are. Okay.
See, I do this for you. I put people
monster.
in uncomfortable positions.
I love it.
So that
a lot of times people think we have it all figured out, and we're being really coy when we kickstart things or talk about stuff we might make, but we really honestly we are not people who kickstart stuff that's already made.
Sure.
We really love that interaction with community. So I could speak a lot about really cool already announced Invisible Sun supplements, Numenera supplements, stuff coming out, taking the Numenera setting for 5e, which people are really excited, Arcana of the Ancients. Yeah, it's coming out, and it's really cool.
I kickstarted that. I was a part of that.
It's really far along, and I can talk about more about that later. But we're always trying to make something really new and different, and I think that you shouldn't have, don't sleep on us, right? We will surprise you, because I keep getting surprised.
You'd mentioned that both the Cypher System books were kind of big. I mean,
chonky. We like to call them chonky.
They're not. They're hefty books. I mean, you could definitely hurt someone with it. Is there a rules light version, someone may say?
Yeah, so we have a free Cypher System quick start, which takes you sort of, it's a free PDF, and it, gets you the basic rules, gets you going. The one thing that's harder to streamline if you don't have pre-gens is just picking out your character options, right? We're really excited to release very, very soon Cypher Shorts rules, and they're basically a streamlined form of character creation. It's a little bit of guidance on how to run like a action-packed tight one-shot and go from, hey, we want to like play Die Hard, right? Like, let's play Die Hard tonight. And you're like, okay, we can play Die Hard.
That sounds like a great Christmas game.
A couple simplified descriptors, a couple simplified types, and a couple like more generalized foci, which are, in the Cypher System rulebook, you have foci like defends the weak, or masters weaponry, moves like a cat is one, right? In Cypher Shorts, you just want to like, are you the talky one? Are you the fighty one, right? You're trying to quickly find some nice character niches, get up and go. It makes character creation really fast, and then you're playing with the same core rule set because it is a really fairly streamlined rule set, a fairly core mechanic. A lot of what takes up space in these books is options. And so we streamline that process. And I'm really excited because the upcoming source books for the Cypher System, The Stars Are Fire, sci-fi, Stay Alive, horror. We have Godforsaken, a fantasy one, and We Are All Mad Here, a cool like fairy tales and darkness supplement coming out. And so all of those will come with them a couple of Cypher Shorts. So if you just want to, hey, see if this setting or this kind of genre, if that's what we're down with, let's pull out a Cypher Short. In 10 minutes, we all have characters and are role-playing, right? Just come over and have dinner. And then suddenly we're gaming. And so this will make my job easier.
Weirdly enough, my DVD player doesn't work, and I punched a hole through my TV. It's the strangest thing.
So odd.
Guess we're going to have to play some games. You have named a bunch of things that I am looking forward to. What is a really good way for people to get information about Cypher System? What is the best way?
The best way is to go to montycookgames.com. We'll have information about all our games. If you're just specifically interested in the Cypher System and you want a little more detail, Cypher-system.com will get you there if you want to check that out. But I think the best way to find us is like, we are talking about all of these things. We'll give you the summaries and the news at our website, montycookgames.com, and at Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, at Monty Cook Games for all of those, because we're very, very simplified.
Awesome. If you wanted more information about Cypher System or any Monty Cook game at all, head down in the comments, let us know what you're excited about, and let us know if you want to see us run through these games, or if you want us to go like more rule heavy into this book, because I know we kind of like just like briefly talked about things, but I think the mechanics of the sentence is really interesting, and so if that's something that you all are interested in, let us know down there. While you're down there, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Don't hit the bell icon. I mean, you can hit the bell icon, but statistically speaking, you don't like all of our content, and if you do, you're more likely to unsubscribe. I'm not gonna get into it, but I think I just did. And then if you want to talk to me on Twitter, you can talk to me on Twitter at IndigoQT. If they want to get a hold of you, what's a good place for them?
You can find me talking about beautiful invertebrate nonsense as well as RPG nonsense at Darcy L. Ross on all the social medias.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.